Anyway, my name's Wanda McMoore.
Wanda.
Nice to meet you again.
No problem.
Mike.
Mike, that's right.
Okay. One of my big things is now I was at the town hall meeting that that Ms. Blackburn, Congresswoman Blackburn had this week. And I kind of, sort of, almost get the idea that she's for some sort of reform.
Absolutely.
But I'm clueless as to what that reform is. What does it entail? How will it come about? How will it be paid for? What will it cover?
Got it. Okay.
You know?
I think the way...
The who, what, when, why, and how.
Gotcha.
And who's paying for it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which I'm sure it'll be us, but how much?
Sure. No problem. Just to kind of start with a little bit of the Congress 101. The way bills come to a vote in the House of Representatives. The House has its rules. The Senate has its rules. I'm going to speak about the House. The way bills come to a vote in the House of Representatives, on the floor of the House, the majority leader, who is Mr. Hoyer from Maryland, he has the right to call bills up to a vote. And the same is true in committees. The chairman of the committee has the right to call a bill forward. So, all the discussion that's out there right now is focused on this bill, H.R. 3200, because right now that is the bill that the leadership, Mr. Hoyer, and in the 3 committees that have jurisdiction in the House have said is the bill to be discussed, because it's the only one that's been called up for votes. So, it's gone through the 3 committees, including the Energy and Commerce Committee, which Ms. Blackburn sits on. And so now the question is, when we come back in September, will it be called to a full vote on the floor of the House? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Only Mr. Hoyer knows the answer to that question. He has the ability to do that. So our comments have been focused almost exclusively on this bill, because up until this point, that is the bill that she has been required, as her position requires her to say yes or no.
Right. So
that and she's made it quite clear her position on this particular legislation is that she opposes it.
Okay.
Now that said, she is the co-sponsor of a bill that addresses a number of issues, and I'll kind of give you the laundry list in a second. And she's supportive of a couple other bills, but there's a particular one that she's a co-sponsor of. But the reality is, as long as this is the bill that is preferred by the leadership, the other bills really, they will not come for a vote. So it's one of those uncomfortable moments where, yes, we believe that the Congressman believes that there needs to be reform in the healthcare system. She does not believe this is the right. So you have to say no to this before you can say yes to something else.
Well, what about this doesn't she like? I mean, what does she like? There's always some good to everything.
Sure.
Because the people up there all wrote it and put it together. It's not like President Obama just sat down one day and pulled it out of his back pocket. A group of people came together collectively and put this whole document together.
Well, I'll give you a little inside baseball on how the bill was written. The bill was written in a purely partisan effort. No Republicans were invited to participate, and our office requested to be a part of that.
Why the Republicans aren't supporting it?
No, that's not the only reason. I just wanted to make sure that was clear. It's not like there's folks who are writing bills that they then run around and oppose for some silly political reason. Really, and she said it at the town hall the other day. It's really a philosophic debate. When we have a problem in society, whose role is it to address that issue? And in this case, we're talking: is there a governmental role, or is it an individual role? And so, the public sector, private sector, and the congressman believes that this bill, and specifically, the main thing that gets everybody's attention and gets everybody fired up is the public option, and she is not supportive of that. So
why not?
Well, there's what we look at it this way is you already have and the numbers fluctuate. A certain amount of the public is already inside government quote unquote healthcare in the Medicare and Medicaid systems. Okay. There are tremendous problems with the Medicare and Medicaid systems. The trustees of Medicare are saying that Medicare is going to run out of money in 2017. So that's just in 8 years. We find it not appropriate when we have an existing program that is practically insolvent to then take that model and extend it out to the rest of the healthcare system. We're simply not ready for that. And secondly, The CBO scored the cost of this legislation at about $1.6 trillion over 10 years. As you know, the country's financial position right now is not good. We simply
because
don't.
we've been spending that much on war on a regular basis over the last 8 years.
We can debate, you know, why that is, but as it stands right now, you know, a $2 trillion deficit just this year, we find the cost. We think it would be the country would be unable to bear it. So that said, there's a long list of things. I'm here to listen. I don't want to talk a whole lot. I want you guys to talk to me. That's what the point of this is. But I mean, again, I'm trying to answer questions however I can.
So does she want to scrap the Medicare system if it's so horrible?
No, we need to fix
Well,
it.
then we should just extend it to everyone. Very simple process. If Medicare is so good for seniors, it should be good enough for people under the age of 65. Very simple.
And then fund it appropriately.
Or scrap Medicare. Let's see what she'll say that.
She won't. I bet it's not everything.
Her, the way she presents herself, it seems like she doesn't want to listen to this other side at all. And that really upsets me. I'm a Republican. I don't go along with everything the Democrats do or say, but I think they're in the right now. And I think she's afraid to agree with anything that Obama does, and that really upsets me because that leaves her in a position where she has no choice. So I don't know what, I tried to research, why is she doing this? Is she funded, you know, do the insurance companies want to make sure she's, you know, their bidder for them? I mean, that's not cool, right?
Well,
That's making Republicans look really bad.
I'm sorry you feel that. I'm sorry you feel that way. I don't think that that's completely accurate, and I'm sorry that that impression has come across.
It certainly does. It comes across on her website. It comes across in news.
It's kind of back to that, you know, legislative reality of you can't, as long as this is here, and she's made the decision that you know, for a number of reasons, including the larger philosophical debate of responsibility and those sorts of things, that she's opposed to this bill. As long as this bill is on the table, that will be the topic. You know, the fact that very few people know that she's co-sponsored an alternative, and I'll kind of give you that laundry list. I know we jumped past that. The reason being is because of that legislative reality. As long as this is out there, sometimes you got to take a half a step back to move 2 steps forward, and that's really where we are legislatively.
Yeah, and I understand that happens
What is
all
she
the time.
allegedly in favor of?
Okay, the bill that she's proposed seeks to address the issue of pre-existing conditions, the issue of insurance rescissions, which is when you have a policy in good standing and then the policy is canceled. It seeks to address portability of policies, seeking to, you know, not completely. We're not in favor of scrapping the entire employer-based insurance system, but the number one issue for women in America with healthcare is what happens if I change jobs and I lose my health care. So there's some issues in the bill that address that portability. And the main thing in, you know, addressing cost is that currently, if you receive insurance from your employer, not only your employer's contributions, but your contributions to those premiums are pre-tax. They're tax deductible. But if you have to buy an insurance policy on your own and buy an individual policy, those are paid with after-tax dollars. So, you know, for most folks, if you're in the 20% tax bracket, that's a 20% difference in buying power that you have. A couple other things the bill looks at is, in the cost arena, is some of the artificial barriers out there right now that are driving the cost for insurance up, and that has to do with risk pooling. You know, being unable to pool risk across state lines is a very, so we think that, you know, her position is that is a great place to start. There's other bills out there that she is supportive of. That's the one she has chosen to co-sponsor. I believe the number on it is HR 3218. It's sponsored by John Shadig of Arizona, if you wanted to look it up. It's on our website if you want to pull it up and check it out.
He did say something about Shattuck and another bill too.
Yeah, the RSC is the Republican Study Committee, which is kind of a subgroup inside the House. And you asked, what's the cost on those? We don't know the cost of that yet. We've asked the Congressional Budget Office to score you know, that's the technical term for figuring out how much something costs. The Congressional Budget Office is nonpartisan. We've asked them to score that bill. They have not done so yet. So we don't have the full information yet. And frankly,
So technically, then she
this-
really can't say that how, you know, we don't want to support this. You know, one of her points was that it's going to cost us too much. Well, you can't say I'm not going to support this yet. I am supporting something else that I don't know the cost for yet.
Well, we
You know.
also don't know the full cost of this bill because
But you've
the
got a
CB
ballpark idea to start with.
the CBO score that was assigned to this bill only addressed the title in there that addresses coverage issues. So basically, the 1.3 trillion you've heard ascribed to this bill is only referring to the cost of subsidies that would be provided to individuals to purchase insurance.
But
It
it's
does
a
not
number
address.
that we can start with.
Yeah, sure, it's a number you can start
She's
with.
willing to support something that has no starting point yet.
Well, we certainly know the number would not be 1.3 trillion. The final number on this bill will end up, by the time you do startup costs and administrative costs, higher than 1.3 trillion. The bill, our guesstimates are much lower than that, based on our experience in crafting legislation. Again, I can't give you a specific number because the way it works in Washington is we give that to CBO.
So
a
what we do know is it'll be
nonpartisan,
less than $1.3 trillion.
significantly less. Yes, we believe.
$1.2 trillion.
No, we are quite confident it will be significantly less than that. Again, I'm here to listen, so please.
Well, I'm going to tell
Feel
you
free.
something else, okay?
Okay.
This may be something that she's already heard, I don't know. But I run in some circles that she may not be in. And
Okay.
in the black community, there's the thought that a lot of opposition to anything that President Obama supports is simply because he's black. You know, you've got a lot of people who aren't ready to accept the fact that our country, all of us, got together and voted him into office. And he doesn't look like all the preceding presidents that we've had. You know, regardless of what his lineage and bloodline actually contains. So there's the race card that a lot of people like to throw up. You know, I've even had people tell me, oh no, here she comes, she's going to complain about something. You know, she's going to throw the race card. Well, you know what? I don't have to do the race card because you just played it for me. That's not my point. I'm coming because I see something wrong, or I may see something that I consider unfair, but I don't automatically approach something based on what I look like.
Right.
Even though the person that I may be about to approach may have that first and foremost in their minds.
Well,
So,
I mean,
from the perspective of certain circles within the black community, there is the thought that the Republicans, and I have to throw that out there as a general term, since that's where the bulk of the opposition is coming from, even though we know there's plenty of friendly Republicans to this bill and other, things that the president is supporting. But the thought is that simply because he's a black man in charge, they don't want to support him.
I certainly can't speak to everyone as a whole. What I can speak to is myself, and I can speak on behalf of the congressman in this, and I can assure you that there is that plays absolutely 0% into her reasoning. And I appreciate that, but I know Marsha well, and I've known her before I worked for her, and I can assure you that is not an issue in her decision-making process.
I don't think that's true though, because we have dealt with Marsha for a long time here, and she come across just like Rosalind Kurita in her thing when we started off here to put Obama in office. And right now, I'll read the paper. Did you see C6 yesterday?
I'm sorry? See what?
C6 in the Leaf Chronicle?
No,
Did
not
you read
yesterday.
that?
I have not seen it yet, no.
Well, they have a headline there saying that it's the Democrats that cause all these problems right now in the country.
Okay.
And they name Jimmy Carter and a few people down the line, and Barack Obama is the last person that caused the conflict, right?
Okay.
Now,
again, I'm not familiar with this.
Other than that, I saw on the television where they said that, I want to know why they use that term. If Kennedy was still alive, the bill would have passed already. What do they mean by it?
I don't know who said that. I don't
It
believe,
was
I don't
on
believe
the
that to be, I
television.
don't believe that to be accurate. I don't think,
I think
I
they
don't
were
think-
counting on his vote.
Right.
Yeah.
But they say,
yeah.
but they're
thank
saying it's strong that it would have passed.
Uh,
Regardless, it would
I
have
was-
passed if he was there because of the power he had as far as
Mhm.
speaking up, you know,
Mhm.
and things like that. And I'm not from here. I'm from
Yeah.
Trinidad and
Trinidad.
stuff like that, right? But
But I would love to visit
I've been
your home, by the
around.
way.
I've been around here
Yeah.
since 1985, dealing with issues like that, you know.
Mhm.
And it's not really what we're talking about here. It's not really that. You know, it's more than just that issue. You see what I'm saying? You talking to us here as a representative from her,
Mhm.
and this lady just said something that was very interesting, and it seemed as though it touched a nerve with you when she mentioned what she mentioned there about it. Look as though she's not, how you say it, you're making Republican look bad.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And there's some reason for that, else she would not have said it.
Yeah, well, again, I'm sorry that impression comes across. I mean, I can tell you
It-
from my,
it come across
personal,
heavy.
my personal relationship with the congressman, she is extremely thoughtful in considering legislation. She considers the good of the country, the good of the people who elected her in the 7th district, without regard to race, color, creed, national origin. And I can assure you
I
that
don't think so.
well,
I don't
I'm
agree.
Something wrong with that.
I don't
No.
agree with
I don't agree with it.
I mean, you're
And I'm not, my country is not, they more into the dance and carnival and all kind of thing. So this race thing, if
Yeah.
you come by me or you come by my mother, she just take you and just like if you was her son. You see, so it's if we have healthcare, it's for everybody.
Right.
If we eat a plate of food, it's for everybody. It's not the black, white, and issue thing.
I appreciate that you're talking to us, because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
wonderful. And
He,
to
and he's
take
young
on
and he
5 of us
he have a
at
lot.
one time,
You
I'm
have
not
a,
taking on anybody. Again,
Well,
I'm here to
I-
listen. You know.
that's awesome.
no, but it's good
I-
what you're doing.
yeah.
You have
It
that
is.
patience. There's a lot of
Thank you.
people don't have that patience to sit down. You see what I'm saying? You would make a good person. You know what?
Yes.
Maybe I should put you up for it instead of.
I know.
I enjoy my job. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, but you're doing a
And
good
again, I would
job.
just say, you know, I know Marsha's character well, and again, I can't speak to how things come across, but I can assure you that her character is solid. She is a very good person. If she thought in the ways that you're insinuating, I wouldn't work for her.
Mm.
So I mean, I can put that personal testimony
We
out
just
there.
have to give you the word on the streets.
Oh no, I appreciate that.
Well, she's
That's-
lucky to have you behind her.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's what I'm saying. He needs to run for himself.
Well, I appreciate the compliment. Thank you.
Now, also during the town hall meeting, that summary that she was reading from, what was that called and where can we find it?
That is a summary that was produced by the Energy and Commerce Committee. So you want to go to energyandcommerce.house.gov, and where you get to it from inside the committee's site.
What's it called, and I'll find it.
It would be, and I don't have, I have a copy in my briefcase, which is at home. I would have just handed it to you. Well, I'll tell you what, when we're done, why don't you let me just pull it out and I'll print it for you. Does that work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That would be fine.
Yeah.
Because I
Yes.
already have one of these.
Yeah.
You got the whole thing? Wow.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And I'm
And-
about this far through tabbing and
Yeah,
indexing and
it's a long
highlighting.
one. So why weren't the Republicans
further.
invited, I'm wondering?
That's the question you need to ask Chairman Waxman and
Because
Mr.
it
Boyer
was
and
bipartisan,
Pelosi.
and they figure you're gonna have a Republican in there in any case.
Well, no, that was my point. It was not the crafting of the legislation was not a bipartisan effort. Republicans were not invited.
Just wasn't invited.
No, this bill. I mean, we knew that there was going to be a bill at some point this year, and literally, I think it was a Tuesday afternoon. It just showed up in my inbox. Here it is.
That is unfortunate.
I know.
Because